this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is the Corsair K65 Plus Wireless. This is a visually pleasing and fingertip pleasing keyboard from Corsair, a TKL keyboard, which is my favourite form factor, with some really nice highlights to it that include pre-lubed switches, 2 layers of sound dampening foam, an insane battery life with a claim of up to 266 hours with the RGB turned off, and a lot more besides. As you can see, it features a very stylish design with a really nice subtle finish on it that I really like. PBT dye subliminated keycaps, adjustable height, a nice Corsair aesthetic. And a bit later on, I'm going to show you how I'm going to swap the switches out and make them even nicer. But what you'll notice is this keyboard has a few things on offer. It includes both Bluetooth and wireless connectivity, works with both Windows and Mac as a little dock for its 2.4 gigahertz dongle. Also looks the business and sounds really awesome as well. Stick around for a sound test a bit later on in the video. Comes with its own keycap puller and multiple functions built into various different buttons on the keyboard itself. One thing I personally do hate though is the delete key isn't on the very edge of the keyboard, so I keep pressing the wrong button. This volume wheel should be somewhere else in my opinion. And there are some other things like the print screen button, for example, is buried in a function key and question mark. The function button does open up a layer of other buttons though, so when you press the function key you'll see additional buttons being lit up that have extra actions on them. If you press function and the number buttons, you can change between various different lighting profiles at hardware level. This means that you don't need any software as standard, so if you hate IQ and don't want to download it, you don't have to necessarily, because you can access various different actions from here, changing the RGB lighting, switching between Bluetooth connectivity, because as you can see there are 3 different things you can pair this keyboard with, adjusting brightness and more. Press function and enter, for example, and the little LED indicator on the top left near the escape key will light up to let you know that the battery's running low. So there are also actions in the function row from F7 to F12 for media playback, and lots of other things that you can do at hardware level, so with just a few extra presses. So although it's TKO, you still got a lot of button actions here and plenty of customization that you can do straight out of the box. As I said, it comes with a keycap and key switch puller as well, so the customization carries on there. Now this keyboard features midnight grey and silver accented keys, so you've got a different colour between some of them, and I really like this sort of dual colour effect that they've got going on here, plus the silver Corsair keycap at the top. Tug those keycaps off, and underneath you'll find Corsair's MLX red linear switches. These are pre-lubed to make them more comfortable to type on, and they sound good as well. Now the mix of these nice keycaps and the sound dampening foam and the pre-lubed switches results in a very nice feel and a good sound, which I'll do a sound test of in a second. But you'll also find that stabilization in various different points is pretty good too. So there are stabilizers on the space bar and screw-in ones that go into the top plate, and you'll find those under enter and the delete key as well. Now obviously this is a UK layout, which is why you're seeing a large enter key for my American viewers if you're confused by that. But what you will see here is we've got some good stabilization, and under the space bar there's even some extra foam to make it more satisfying and quieter. And this has been one of the more satisfying keyboards to type on and to game with because of the feel you get out of the switches and out of the overall design of it. It is hot swappable though, so if you want to, you can pull those Corsair switches out, and underneath you'll find space to be able to put 5-pin switches in quite easily. So although these are 3 pins, you can put 5 pins in instead, so this gives you a choice of what switches you're going to put in there. So I'm using Gateron Zelious V2 switches, which I've lubed by hand to make it sound even better. Now I want to do a sound test to compare the two a bit later on, but I took the entire keyboard, stripped it down, removed all the standard Corsair switches and popped in the Zelious switches instead, and went to the effort of doing this so I could show you the difference between it. I will warn you though, if you do this, take real care with the switches, because it's so easy to bend the pins and find some keys that they're not working, and that's one of the biggest frustrations of doing this. Sure, custom keyboards are great when you customize it this way, but it does result in a bit of a pain. So here's a sound test, first with the Zelious switches and then with the Corsair one so you can hear the difference. Stick around also to see the software in a second. And now back to the Corsair switches so you can hear what it sounds like out of the box. So as you've seen, a pretty magnificent keyboard in a number of different ways. I really like it. I've really enjoyed gaming and working with this. It has been a comfortable keyboard to use, satisfying in a variety of ways. Nice RGB lighting, good response from it, nice and quiet. The battery life is really good as well. I find I'm rarely plugging it in, and you'll notice when it needs plugging in because the RGB basically just turns off, and you have that little indicator on the left hand side to warn you when there's a problem as well, so you can easily find that out without much hassle. And that's actually the case right now, conveniently, because you can see the LED indicator is lit up red there. So just a happy coincidence for the end of the review. Now I just want to say a few different things about this that other people will probably point out. For the money, you might be able to get other keyboards. This doesn't have a lot of the other features out there, so these aren't optical switches as standard. There's no rapid trigger. You don't have adjustable actuation points. There are various features that other boards will have. SteelSeries has got it in its Apex Pro lineup, for example. Razer's got a bunch in the Huntsman V3 Pro lineup. So it doesn't have those sort of gaming features to it. However, if I had to send this back, and Corsair said they wanted it back now, I'd be very sad because this could actually replace my main gaming keyboard, sort of the daily use when I'm not using others. I find it comfortable and really satisfying to use in a variety of ways. I think it's nice to look at, simple, understated, and really just great all round in a variety of ways. Corsair's done a great job lately with just improving their keyboards and getting better and better over time. It doesn't go over the top with features at software level or loads of adjustable actuation or just loads of gaming features that some might think are gimmicks anyway. Whereas other people that love wooting boards, for example, might be in the comments right now saying, oh, this is rubbish, you could get much better features. But I personally think this is fantastic. Obviously, that's a very subjective opinion, but that's the point in the reviews after all. Now I want to go into IQ a little bit and show you what you can do in there. But at hardware level, that's what's important. It's just really easy to use straight out of the box. Loads of features. And very nice in a number of ways. So here we are in IQ. You'll see that the K65 is actually split into two different things. The wireless receiver, which has its own settings here, very limited, and the keyboard itself. Now, at the top here, you'll see there's a little indicator which lets you know what the shortcuts are. So I said already, you've got lots of actions buried on the buttons here. You can actually see what they are in this list if you need to know. Function plus F1, for example, changes the screen brightness, and F2, so up and down, reducing and increasing it. Then you can go into all sorts of other things, like cycling through onboard profiles, checking the battery status, and doing other things. Now, the control dial on the top right is a volume wheel adjustment as standard, but you can also use it to adjust brightness, use it for vertical scrolling. You can press it to turn the brightness on and off on the keyboard, and you can go through the functions here. You'll see that tooltips are appearing in list here as well, so you can actually cycle through the tooltips here to change between different things and let you know what buttons you should be doing. But you have these various different actions in here that you can assign to it, so you have a number of things in there. One of the things that I didn't mention, you'll notice when you go into the Performance tab, is you have the ability to turn win lock on and off, which is function and L as standard. Also note when you press the function key on the keyboard, it actually highlights, again, even in the software, which keys do what, or at least with this second layer. So we can see function key in L is the basically disabling Windows key. So it's a game mode where your keyboard isn't going to let you accidentally press the Windows key. But you can also do it for Alt F4, for example, to stop you accidentally closing games when you're in the middle of a game and other things like that. You also have keyboard assignments, which I'm happy to report you can add macros to, because I have been doing that for Bellwright. So I've got a macro on here on page down, which essentially just press E over and over again to harvest things. And you can go in and you can set like repeating settings on this to execute it on key press, and it'll just keep doing it. So if you're playing a game like I am, where it's an RPG and you need to keep harvesting things or collecting things, you can do macros on there. You can also obviously go through a variety of other things. You could set up key presses for launching apps, for media playback, for mouse button presses. It includes voice mod settings as well. And you can remap keys into other keys. So there's plenty you can do both at hardware and software level, making the K65 Plus Wireless well worth considering. If you found this useful, check out the links in the description down below to find out more, and let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching. You've made it right to the end of the video, you brilliant legend you. If you've enjoyed it, click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions. If you really enjoyed it, consider joining the channel and see the benefits of doing so. Check out these other videos. You might well find them interesting or useful. And most importantly, have a great life.